Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how are you today? Well, grab your coffee, maybe some chocolate, because you just never know with me what's going to come out of my mouth or what's going on in the world today. So, before I get started with what I want to talk about, two things, okay? I was told about these two things, and I want you to add these to your preps before it's too late, okay? And these two deodorants, one's for a man, one's for a woman, okay? Get them before you cannot. Regardless if these are your brands or not, okay, because you can use these as a bartering item, okay, or, you know, SHTF situation happens, you can no longer get your brand. These will be your backups. Right on. For a guy, Old Spice. For a woman, Secret. Okay. Apparently, these two brands are causing a situation within our bodies. Trish and I are calling BS. Why? Because the elite are buying them up like crazy. So, before we can no longer get these items, please buy them up. I know I am. Secret just so happens to be my choice of deodorant. So, my second choice is Suave or Dove. But I always go for Secret first. Okay, so please buy them up. You know, just as a precaution, okay? When I found this out, I said, you know, what else are they going to try and say causes an effect, or, you know, as another recall, or, I mean, come on. You know, it's just, it's getting out of hand now. And, you know, it's going to affect, you know, so many people in so many different ways. It's just, it's ridiculous now. It really is. So now what I'm going to talk about now, I'm going to show you some pictures and things like that. Okay. So these came from subscribers. Here's a photo, okay, of the pasta aisle at a Walmart in Wichita, Kansas. Okay. And the subscriber said, I've seen it a little low, all right, in the past couple of months, but not like this. Thought you might like to share it with the community. Okay, absolutely. Yeah, that is, wow, very low. So here comes the photo, okay? Hang on just a minute. Okay, so here's three pictures, okay? This was at a Walmart in Monterey, California. She said we are now starting to see more and more shortages. So here's, yeah, okay, so here's three pictures coming at you right now. Okay, so this subscriber emailed me, all right, and she said, I'm not sure if other Walmart stores across the country have done this, but I know the two that are near me have. I live in Western North Carolina. Around the 1st of October, a Walmart had several large shipping containers placed in the parking lot on the side of the building. My husband commented about how strange that was. I know in years past they used them to help store layaway items, and that's what I told him. But this year, they did away with their layaway program. Yeah, they did away with the layaway here as well at the Walmarts in my area as well. I really didn't give it another thought until this past Wednesday. We were leaving the parking lot and two of these containers were open and workers were moving things. These 2 containers were full to the top with merchandise. Some boxes I could see had paper towel, toilet paper names on them. Couldn't see very far into these things because they were packed. Wish I could have gotten a picture, but my husband wouldn't make another drive-by. He doesn't see things how I see them. So just wondering if others have seen this as well. Well, if you have seen this, okay, let's talk about it in the comment section, okay, because, you know, these are things that people are noticing. Okay, so let's talk about this in the comment section, all right? So, oh, Lord. So here's something, okay, from a subscriber. She said, I am a certified medical coder. I just received a denial from Blue Cross Blue Shield on a patent that stated, denied patient responsibility, drug service is experimental. I thought Rona, okay, was approved. So why would they not also approve the test? Just like there is a test for flu that gets reimbursed by insurance because the flu is approved. I find this very interesting. Now the patient is responsible for the cost of this test. That is something, isn't it? So it's not being approved because it's experimental? That's strange because I have Blue Cross and Blue Shield. So check with your health insurance and see what's really going on here, okay? Because, you know, this is just not, it's just, something is just not, you know what I mean? It's things that make you go, you know what I mean? So this came from a subscriber, and she said, I thought you might like to pass this bit of perspective on. She said, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I work in a small mom and pop grocery store in rural Nebraska. The owners have a few tiny stores in the area where there would be food deserts otherwise. As in other words, 30 to 40 miles to a town with Walmart or anything else resembling a grocery store. The city store in the big town turns a decent profit. I'm putting big in quotations because, come on, Memorial Stadium has more seats than the 3rd biggest city in the state. But my store breaks even with maybe a grand total of maybe $500 to the black at the end of the store. Since March of 2020, the trucks we get twice a week have been a roulette game of what did we get this time? Wow. Imagine trying to run a business and not knowing what your shipment is going to be. Yikes. Always at least half a dozen things ordered the warehouse didn't have, though this has been random and ever-changing. Items not available for weeks or months come back in and other items disappear. We're seeing more damaged packaging, dented cans and such being sent on our trucks, and dates not as far out as they should be. New items coming in very close in date, occasionally the same date, or even rarely an earlier date that the item already on the shelves. Wow. Granted, not an immediate concern with canned goods and a 2023 expiration, but it speaks greatly to what the warehouse has and what has been happening with the state of production and the supply chain to the warehouse. Canned goods generally have a 3+ year shelf life. I expect to be seeing October to December 2024 coming in, and even January 2025 dates soon in the normal course of things. I haven't seen, but maybe a handful of canned items come in with dates past September 2023. Granted, this is a very rural area in a very rural state, and supply prioritization is to major popular centers. Is very reasonable to assume what resumed production going on is hitting major population areas first. So not it is necessarily a harbinger but of doom, but certainly eyebrow raising when you notice, especially when production is sporadically limited by lack of plastic or metal for packaging, or plague-induced shutdowns, and hampered by the already tight staffing and transportation issues, made even worse when certain mandates reducing the workforce more. And now the omni whatever creeping into the news cycle that seems to be an indicator of lockdown insanity round 7 or 8 in a month or so. We're hanging price changes weekly and they're just going up. We're now averaging about 20 cents more a week on the price changes. Not every item in the store, not every week for the same item, but a large number of price changes weekly and averaging 20 cents up in the changes. In the last 2 months, nearly every item has gone up at least once. This is a direct, immediate reflection of warehouse costs rising in a small store like mine. There is no cushion to get a slightly better deal when you order by cases of an item instead of pallets of an item, so we get the brunt of it immediately, not a few weeks down the road. Warehouse sales are a few weeks ahead of store sales, so certain items can be pre-ordered for upcoming holidays, etc., and the warehouse can order that much more itself to have in stock. The owner told my store manager, order what you can now for Christmas dinner. Baking items don't wait for the sales in 2 weeks. When the warehouse pre-sales for Christmas came out just before Thanksgiving, there was nothing on them. Wow. Some store brand canned goods, very basic staples, were all that was on the list. Not a bit of usual holiday baking supplies. Frozen pies, Cool Whip, etc. was on the warehouse sale. Nothing but store brand staples and canned goods. The owner was floored by that and very worried, as they had never seen that before in their life. And the owner's father and uncles were original owners of the little group of stores, raised in the stores, and have basically been doing this their whole life. So whatever fantasy stories are being put out by the delusional folks in DC and their big media puppets, well, they are either deliberately lying or just that disconnected from reality of how things work, which, one, I don't know, nor do I care. Continuing on with sketchy stocked shelves, intermittent shortages, and limits on items in cycles looks like the best case scenario for 2022. At least by indicators in my store and in my neck of the woods, 2022 just might tell 2020 and 2021 to hold my beer. Let me show you how it's done. Ooh. Geez, even without the price increases due to gas and energy prices rising, and how many major brands announcing 20 to 30% across the board increases in January. I really truly hope I'm wrong, but with what I'm seeing at my grocery store, 2022's outlook seems to be, well, the nicest way I can put it, hold my beer because you ain't seen nothing yet. Yeah. So, whoops. Wow, that. I like the way she put that. I really do. I love the way she put that. Holy cow. All right. So, then this was sent to me, okay? And the way that it was put to me, okay, because you know how we say history repeats itself, right? And then the way it was said was, well, every 80 years, history repeats itself. Okay, so this was written out, okay, by a subscriber. And she said, I wanted to encourage everyone who is in a state of panic that this has happened before, possibly every 100 years. Okay, well, she's saying every 100 years. Someone else said every 80 years. So let's just go with it, okay? She said a little over 100 years ago, several cases of children became paralyzed from working in industrial facilities. They later said that those 11 cases, but I have heard as low as 9 cases, spurred a national vaccine effort where as many as 97% of the population gathered in lines and gladly rolled up their sleeves to prevent the spread of polio. The next few years, polio spread like wildfire. And then came the Great Spanish Flu, which took almost 100 million people home to be with God. I often wondered if they were related. There was something else happening during that time frame, World War I, and then the Great Depression, and then World War II, which wiped out many of the old world buildings. And there is a huge difference between back then and now. We are here, and we are all descended fighters and survivors, and we haven't forgotten. And all of us come from those who survived, and so we will. I was raised by my grandmother and grandfather, and who gave me all the skills I was to prepare and survive, but it is my rebellious spirit that keeps me going. It makes me think of Jesus and the greatest rebel this world has ever seen, and I want to be just like him and flip the big fat bird in all their faces, laugh out loud. That's funny. I like that. This world that we are creating in the meta universe is a joke. I think the big they will do everything they can to keep people plugged in for now. We, as prepared-minded individuals, must open our eyes and see that this is one of many great resets that they have planned, and they can kiss my butt because I will not go quietly into the night. And yeah, no, none of us will. Get prepared and get seriously prepared, guys. Here are some pictures that you won't see unless you look really, really hard. Does anyone ever wonder why there are so many brick water towers? Maybe because they were helium refuel stations of our Navy's Zeppelins in the 1800s and 1900s. I included a picture of a woman, Mary Coulter, C-O-L-T-E-R, who had been given credit for designing the watchtower in the Grand Canyon. She was definitely connected to certain groups, if you know what I mean. And many natives to Arizona believed she took credit for this ancient building and remodeled it, but didn't build it herself. And there was even an open forum held by the University of Arizona that debated whether she was the builder. Many of these ancient buildings can be found all over and are a part of a cover-up of history. There's been so many cover-ups when it comes to history. It's a tragedy, really. There's been cover-ups, I think one of the biggest cover-ups is JFK. You know what I mean? But 9/11, you know what I mean? I mean, it just, there's so many to add to that cover-up list. It's horrific. It really is. I love Autodidactic 2 on YouTube, which says his story is not our story. The YouTube creator looks at the antiquatic and mud flood theory and ancient buildings and giants. Understanding our story will help us stop repeating it. I am starting to see the cycle that seems to happen every 100 years, and only the meek, or those who dwell in caves during this reset, have survived. Check out Adapt 2030 and Green Greg's for more on why they have to reset us all. Yeah, I know about all of that. Yeah, Trish has spoke in great length when it comes to all of that stuff, to the point where I felt like my brain was being fried because so much information was just being put into my head. I was just like, my God, you know, I didn't think I could take any more. I mean, that's how much information I have on this stuff, you know. After we get these mud floods, most buildings are burnt down or buried. Bricks can be easily made from the mud, and the adults are killed off and the children are raised in orphanage homes. Those F camps aren't for the adults. They're going to be for the kids who are left behind from the pandemic. Stay positive and start making preparations for a lot of orphaned youngsters, guys. I think wholeheartedly things are just getting started. Oh, Lord. Matter of fact, Sean, you know, my husband, he was watching this show, and it was called, it was an HBO show. It was called Chernobyl. And there was quite a few things of that show that I just could not bring myself to watch. It was so brutal. It was awful. So, you know, there's just some things that I just don't have a stomach for. You know what I mean? So anyway, this is the last thing that I'm going to talk about. Okay, and then I will see you guys later. Where is it? Here it is. This subscriber said, I attached a picture which has a link about dangers of a cashless society, something I thought you guys might want to share with everybody. So I'm going to put this picture, okay, in the video so you guys can see that. And then that'll be at the end of the video. So I will see you guys later. Okay, I love you. Stay safe. Stay positive. Keep prepping. And as always, fear less, okay? Ciao for now.